Today we'll cover how to perform certain basic data visualization operations in Python, and these are the types of visualizations that we'll be covering: horizontal bar chart, vertical bar chart, clustered bar chart, stacked, line chart, pie chart, histogram, and scatter plot. Okay. Now I know that these are very basic visualizations compared to what you can possibly do in Tableau or Power BI, but the objective here is to get an idea of how to use that code for doing some basic descriptors from your data. So typically when you are working on a project, let's say for example you are building some sort of a linear regression model, right? Let's say you just want to visualize how that basic distribution of the data looks like, then any of these visualizations might be suitable for you to use. So as always, I will send this Python code at the end of the session, and in the future, if at all you are in a situation where you have to build any of these visualizations, you can use this code directly. You can use it like a plug and play. You can just replace it with your data set, and it will be useful for you in that way. That is the objective of today's session. So first step, as always, we will load the required libraries. So we would require 4 libraries for this exercise. First one being the pandas library, which we always use to perform dataset operations. And then we import the numpy library to perform array operations. And then there's this library called Seaborn for online datasets. So typically there are several datasets available within the Seaborn library, and if you import this library via the internet, you can access these datasets. And then there is the actual matplotlib library, which is used to plot the graphs. So first type of visualization is the horizontal bar chart. So for this, we'll be using the Titanic dataset. You might be familiar, this dataset is quite famous. It has also been used as part of a Kaggle challenge, where people can download this data and use it to perform any descriptive or predictive analytics. So let me just load these libraries first. Okay, so first we have loaded this dataset, and we can observe that this dataset has 891 rows and 15 columns. And what I am doing is I am just performing a simple aggregation on this dataset. So there is a column called who, which basically indicates the gender of a person. So for those of you who are not familiar, this Titanic dataset essentially contains details about passengers who traveled on the Titanic and whether or not they survived. Okay. And one of the columns in the dataset is the gender, and the other column is the ticket fare that they have paid. Okay. So what we are doing is, we are by the gender we are aggregating how much fare, what is the total amount of fare that people belonging to that gender have paid. Okay, so that is why I'm using the sum function here. So let me just do that aggregation and just see what the aggregated data set looks like. So we have typically the ticket fare will be for adults and children, right? So here we have for child, men and women, and we have the total fare paid by each group. So we just need to visualize this as a horizontal bar chart. So how you do that is you use this function. So the PLT is for the matplotlib library. It is an alias that we have given. So from this PLT function, we are using, from this PLT library, we are using this bar h function, and the syntax is like this: the x-axis parameter, y-axis parameter, and the colors. So since we have like 3 different groups, right, men, women and children, so for each group we are specifying a different color, and for this we are using the hexadecimal values of the color. So this hexadecimal value, it's easy for you to get even if you go to any MS Office application, right? You can or even Tableau has this option where you can choose the color based on its hexadecimal value, and you can give this hexadecimal value and appropriately choose whatever color you need for each of the bars. And you also, yeah.
A question here. So what if we don't assign any color? Will all the 3 bars going to be in the same color, or it will be different by default?
So by default it will be in the same color. Yeah, if you want a different color, you can specify it over here, and then you can also specify the chart title, x-axis title and y-axis title. Now once you have returned this block of code here, right, you just run this together, okay, because that's the best way to visualize the data. So I am selecting this entire block of code over here, and then so initially we'll be in this variable explorer window over here on the right, okay, but once you have run this block of code to generate the plot, what you do is you click on plots over here, where you can see an image of the graph that you have just generated. So we just have the different groups, and then we have the total fare paid by each of these groups. And if required, you can also right click on this, and you can copy this image, or you can save it anywhere else, wherever you want. You can perform those operations. So this is how you create a horizontal bar chart in Python.
Sai, can we bring the labels also? Is it possible with this
yes
function?
Yeah, so you have this bar h function, right? Right now I have used only a few parameters over here. It's just the x and y axis titles and the color, but you can refer to the official page of this particular function from so the people who have developed this PLT package, right? So they will have a page for each and every function in this package. So there, if you just check out this bar h function, it will have a list of all possible parameters that you can specify. There are also options where you can specify the transparency of these colors that you see on the chart. So in fact, I have one example down below. I'll show you, but yeah, you have all those other parameters as well. So this is to create a horizontal bar chart. So creating a vertical bar chart is also very similar. I'm just using the same data set, and I'm doing the same aggregation. Okay, just note the difference between the line of code for the horizontal and the vertical bar chart. Here we use the function plt.barh for the horizontal bar chart, but for the vertical bar chart or the column chart, we are using the function plt.bar. So here it is bar h, here it is bar. That is the only difference. Now we just see the data set is the same, so I'm not running this line again. But if I run the code to generate the plot, then you can see that we have generated the vertical bar chart, but the data is the same. So next up is the clustered bar chart. I am using the same data set, but here I am performing a different type of aggregation. So what I am doing here is I am taking the average fare paid by a person in each class. Okay, so this is our original data set having 891,015 columns, right? But I am doing an aggregation, a different type of an aggregation of this data set, where for each gender in each class. So typically in flights or ships or trains, you have this first class, second class, etc. Right? So here also they had first, second, and third classes, and these numbers essentially show the average fare paid by a person in each gender for each class. Okay, so for that we are again using an aggregation function over here called pivot_table. So here we have used the group by aggregation function. Here we are using the pivot table aggregation function. df is the name of the data set. This is the value that we need to aggregate, the fare value. Index is nothing but on what column should we perform the aggregation. So that is by this who column, which indicates the gender, and then columns in the aggregated data set, right? So what you have here, the first, second, and third. So that will be the class. Okay. And then what sort of aggregation do you want to perform? Do you want the total, you want the average? That is what I have specified here, mean, which indicates the average. Okay. So once I perform this aggregation, I will plot the clustered bar chart on the aggregated data set. Okay. So yeah, so here if you see, we have this value called alpha is equal to 0.5, right? So this indicates this transparency of the chart. Now just observe the output plot that we get. Now you see we have this clustered bar chart. For each gender, we show the 3 bars, first, second, and third. Okay. Now I have given this alpha value as 0.5, right? Now let me just change this to 1. See what happens. So if I change this to 1, then you can observe, you just compare the previous picture and this picture. This one you can see that it's more opaque, right? So because we have given a higher alpha value. So that is what this alpha parameter is used for. The same alpha parameter can be used in other plot functions as well. So next type of chart is the stacked bar chart. So here I am using a different data set. So I'm creating a data set manually. So this data set will have the columns A, B, C, D, and it will have these values under those columns. Let's see how this looks like. Created this in the name of DF. Now you can see so the columns and then the values under those columns. We have created this data frame manually. Okay. Now how do we create a stacked bar chart? Again, the syntax is very similar to the previous bar charts that we created. So here we created the vertical bar chart, right, for which we use this function called plt.bar. So we are using the same function over here, plot.bar, but here we give one additional parameter, which is stacked is equal to true. Okay, so by default this value will be false, but here since we need a stacked bar chart, we give stacked is equal to true. Okay, and width of the bars, and again we can specify this alpha parameter to indicate the transparency of the bars. And let me just run this line of code and go to plots. Now you can see we have created the stacked bar chart for the columns in the data set. Okay. So next type of chart is the line chart. So for this we will use this iris data set. So this iris data set is also very popular data set. It's also available in R. You might be familiar if you have worked in R. So let me load this data set. And this data set is basically, it contains data on different types of flowers actually. And so those flowers have this sepals, right, which is a part of the flower. And I am just doing a sort of a line plot between this length and the width of that sepal. Okay, so how does this width vary for different values of the sepal length? Okay, so just a simple correlation kind of a table we are building based on the raw data. You can see once I have grouped this, you can see what the final data set looks like for different sepal lengths. What is the sepal width, corresponding sepal width? That is what we have here. So if I just plot a line chart for this, for line chart, again in same plot function I'm using by default. So here you see I'm not using this additional parameter of bar or bar h or stacked, right? So here I'm just saying plot, and I'm giving the x-axis and y-axis parameters, length and width. Okay, so now we just plot this, just see what happens. So by default it will give you a line chart. So I think one of you had a question in one of the previous Python sessions that we were dealing with on the time series analysis. So there also, if you remember, we did not specify explicitly that we need a line plot, right? We just use this plot function, and one of you had a question where you asked by default will it take a line plot? So again the answer is yes, because here we are not specified explicitly whether it's a bar or a horizontal bar or anything. So by default it will draw a line graph for you. So that is on the line chart. And then next type of chart is the pie chart. So here also we are using a manual data set. So let's say we have two different columns of data, right? So we have the names of different cars here, and let us say this indicates the number of cars sold here for that particular brand. Okay, so this is not a data frame, this is just an array of values. Okay, so what I am doing now is I'm just plotting a pie chart for the different types of cars sold. Okay, so data will be these numbers that we have over here. I'm using this function called pi. Okay, so data will be the set of these numbers that we have here. Labels or the categories by which you want to split show these numbers or show the colors on the pie chart, that is basically the set cars. Okay, so labels equal to cars, and manually you can specify the different colors for the categories. And then we also have a chart title. Now I run this piece of code. Now you can see that we have obtained the pie chart for the sales of different cars. So next type of chart is the histogram, and here again we are just generating a set of normal distribution. So this distribution will have 1000 numbers ranging from 0 to 1. Okay, so let me just create this data set, and then we have something called as a kernel density estimate. Okay, so this is density used to get the probability value. So in Excel you have this function called norm.dist, right? So in Python there's the similar function called Gaussian underscore KDE, which when applied on a particular data set gives the probability of the data set. So this is essentially if the data set has a mean of X and a standard deviation of Y, then what is the probability that it follows a normal distribution? So the same norm.dist function that we have in Excel, right? So we have that here in Python as Gaussian underscore KDE. Okay, so this number we need in order to generate that histogram in Python. So that is why we use this function. So we will just create this histogram using this function called hist. Okay, so just see what we have covered until now. For creating a bar chart, we use the function bar. For creating a pie chart, we use the function pi. For creating a histogram, we are using the function hist. If you don't specify anything, if you just give plot, then it will plot a line chart by default. Okay, so here if you see there is additional parameter that I have used. Bins is equal to np.linspace, right? So this linspace gives you equal so within a given interval it will give you certain equally spaced numbers. So that is what we are using to generate the bins of the histogram. Okay, so what we are saying here is I need 50 numbers between -3 and +3. Okay, and then this is just a type of histogram that we want, whether you want a bar kind of histogram or whether you want it to look like a step and so on. For additional references, I recommend you check the official page of this function. And then density is equal to true essentially indicates that probability density function which we have used in the previous statement over here. And let me just run this line of code and see what the output looks like. Yeah, so here if you see we have obtained this histogram. So the format looks like a step, right? We don't have bars here, but rather you just have the outline which indicates the values, frequency distribution of the values that you have in the data. Okay. So I just have a couple of minutes. Let me just quickly cover the last portion for the day as well. So the final type of chart that I want to talk about is the scatter plot. So here we will load another data set from the Seaborn library, which is called as tips. So this is basically tips given by people who are visiting a restaurant. And then we have in this data set we have the total bill amount and then the tip given for that bill. Okay, so I'm just creating a scatter plot or a correlation between this total bill and the tips. Okay, so for this we use the function called scatter. Okay, so let me just run this line of code. Yeah, now you can see we have the scatter plot between the total bill and the tip amount. Again, the alpha value indicates the transparency of the points that you have on the graph. So here you can see they are a bit transparent because you can see in some places where one circle lies underneath the other one. Okay. So that is how you build the scatter plot. Now I will send you this code in some time. And in case you are faced with the situation of creating different types of charts in Python, you can use this code directly. You can just plug in the names of your data set and feel free to use it. So that is what I had for today. There are certain other types of visualizations that you can also do in Python that I will cover during the next week.